Hi and welcome to my review of Ain't Them Body Saints. Now, Ain't Them Body Saints, some of you might have heard it, might not have. It's starring Casey Affleck and Rooney Mara, with supporting turns from Keith Carradine and Ben Foster. Now, it revolves around Mara and Affleck, who are playing Bob and Ruth, a married couple. Ruth, at the beginning of the film, finds out that she's pregnant with the couple's first child. The only problem there is they are criminals, essentially. They go out and they commit various crimes, they screw people over. You don't see too much of that. Now, the beginning of the film is really fast paced. They end up in a shootout with the police. Bob and Ruth get arrested and Bob takes the fall for it, essentially. So, as I said, the beginning of the film is pretty fast paced. It skips forward about 4 or 5 years. Bob's still in prison. Ruth's had a little girl, but whom Bob has never seen before. And basically Ruth had decided that she's going to wait for Bob to be released from prison. Now, this is where the film, for the next 90 minutes essentially, is pretty slow. Bob escapes from prison and decides that he's going to trek the hills and rivers of Texas to get back to Ruth and his daughter, who he's never seen before. Now, as I say, it is slow, but it's really good. I'll say that straight away. It's really good. You're just so engrossed in these two characters. Ruth has finally got to a stage of her life where she cares about something more than Bob. That's her daughter, Sylvie. Obviously, Bob's daughter as well. And Bob did screw a lot of people over before he went to prison. So now, with him escaping, he has quite a lot of people after him, which isn't obviously the ideal situation for Ruth and her daughter Sylvie. Now, to add another little cog to the wheel there, we've got Ben Foster's deputy for the sheriff. He has a relationship with Ruth, not a sexual relationship or anything like that, just a close relationship where he cares for her, and he cares for her daughter as well, but obviously he's on the hunt for Bob. So you've got all this sort of intertwined, and with Keith Carradine sort of, you know how in all these sort of old Texan towns of the 70s and all this, you seem to have this guy that owns all the shops. So Keith Carradine plays that character who raised Ruth and Bob, and he cares a lot for Ruth and her daughter, and he sort of basically tells Bob, no, stay away, and then there's people come looking for Bob and everything, and it all gets, but you need to see that to see that side. The main focus here is Bob trying to get to Ruth and see his daughter. Now, as I say, the middle act, which lasts for about 90 minutes, gets bogged down a lot. Sometimes it does get away from itself a little bit. It sometimes becomes a bit too philosophical. You know, how are we meant to care for Bob? Bob is a criminal, after all. He's killed people. That's why he's in prison. He's meant to be spending about 25 years in prison. He's an escaped convict. But at the same time, you do sympathise for his desire to get back and see his wife and daughter. And it does, in all fairness, keep you very interested to see how things are going to play out. You don't know what's going to happen, and it's very good in that sense. I do feel that they could have been doing with speeding up the pace a little bit in the middle act. Rooney Mara's character, Ruth, is interesting in the sense that you do see some development from her from the beginning to the middle, but that's about it. She's already settled down with her daughter, and that's fine. I would have liked to have seen a bit more character development there. I'd even like to have seen a little bit more emotion from her character, but nonetheless, I thought it was a really great film. Now, the star turn here, in my opinion, was Ben Foster as the sheriff's deputy. He brought so much sympathy to the role, so much sympathy, and he was very understated. He wasn't an exuberant character. He is definitely the star turn of that film. He's a supporting actor in it, but he's most definitely the star turn of the film. Now, David Lowry was the writer-director of this film. He's done various films in the past. His last one was a short, and that sort of shot to Sundance fame, and that's given him the opportunity to do this film. Now, I do get very strong Terrence Malick feelings in the cinematography and everything like that. It's a really beautiful looking film. It's, if you're not too fond of the story, at least you've got something really pretty to look at. But no, it is a really good story. It will keep you It will keep you engrossed for an hour and a half. It doesn't run too long. It's got a 105-minute running time, so it doesn't run too long. It doesn't get too overbearing. He knows exactly when to end it. Now that would again be another criticism of the film. You've got this opening 7 minutes, which are really, really fast paced, a middle 90 minutes, which are really, really slow, and sometimes become quite laborious, and overall though it gets by, and then the last 7 or 8 minutes are pretty fast paced again. All of a sudden just comes to a conclusion. Obviously I'm not going to tell you what the conclusion is, but overall I feel that it was a really, really well written film. I feel that the characters are interesting enough to stay engrossed for 105 minutes, and the story is interesting enough to keep you watching to the very, very end, because you really do end up caring about the characters and you want to know what happens to them. And for that, I'm going to give Ain't Them Bodies Saints a score of 8 out of 10.